Patrick, Unchained. Are you unchained about any of the events going on in our sporting world these
I, I
days?
have a question for you, Mr. Hockey. How come we're not going to sign Brock Besser?
I think he
Why?
want. Yeah, sorry.
Wait, would they think he wants too much money?
I think they want either too much money, too much term, or too much of both.
Well, we got it though. We got the money. We're trying to spend the money. Why don't we spend the money? Is that where we don't think we need a right wing? Is
Oh
that it?
no,
Maybe.
no. I think what we're trying to do now is not spend all the money at once. Save some of it for during the season to make some trades. And
Hmm.
and plus, I don't know if you've looked. There is the market. Like Brock Besser is going to be Babe Ruth on this market. Like no
Oh,
one is
really?
left. There's no centers left. There's third and fourth line guys, but there's
Yes.
the top talent has basically all returned to where it came from, or in Mitch Marner's case, a sign and trade with the Golden Knights, who are incredible.
Yes, but I mean, you're going to get outbid by Winnipeg for this guy, for goodness sakes, or somebody like that. I don't get it.
Hey,
I thought he was a cinch to end up coming here, and then when I was looking, then everybody else got signed. I thought for sure they would bring him in. I still don't trust him. I think they might sign him. I
okay,
still think they might sign him. So
okay. Well, all I
local
know is
boy.
that Vladimir Tarasenko, who Bill Guerin picked up off the curb for free from Detroit, is going to solve the
Mhm.
problems.
Is he got anything left?
I don't know. I don't know, and it sounds like I saw a bunch of fans saying, "Well, he didn't have a good year, but he's playing for Detroit, so look at that." And so I went and did some research on his
Hmm.
2024-25, and I will say I found this. I found that the evidently the Wings gave him every chance to succeed, and he just didn't have anything left last season.
Man, he was something about 5 years ago, though. He was great when they had their run, and he was fantastic. He helped beat us in a playoff series or two, didn't he?
He did indeed. Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. Yeah, with the Blues, he was
Hmm.
2000 to well, like 2021. He was absolutely great.
Yeah, but uh, you know. I guess they got him for free. So what the heck? But you got to pay him 4.5, and then
Yeah.
you're out. You're out from under. But yeah, I still don't trust them. I think they're up to something. Yesterday, I started the rumor Connor McDavid for Kaprizov. So what do you think? He wants out. He wants out. I'd make that trade. They can have the Russian. We'll
Oh,
take
for
care of
McDavid,
Connor
yeah, for
McDavid.
McDavid,
Yes,
no question,
yes,
no
yes.
question. That's
We'll
great.
even throw him a. We'll even throw him something else for I don't know who, but somebody. Rossi. We're throwing Marco Rossi too. Well, Rossi's a free agent, right?
No, he's restricted, so they could trade him,
Restricted.
but he can sign offer sheets starting today. So, and that's another mess. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, you might be right. I could see. I would not be shocked by a big trade.
No, I wouldn't either. I think he's up to something, Garen. I don't think we can tell fans for 5 years that just wait until we get rid of these horrible contracts that saved the franchise 2012, but we're still mad about the contracts and then not do anything. I got to think the guy over in Wisconsin is saying let's stir things up here a little bit. Let's do something. Mr. Leopold, I don't think wants to sit on his hands, does he?
That's what I'm wondering about. Like that's the one that I think because he was all excited about this.
Hmm.
He talked about how it was going to be July 1st was Christmas Day. That's why I wouldn't be surprised. I also think they're probably going to if they're going to trade Rossi still, I think it's going to have to be in a deal with other players as well because by putting him on the fourth line in the playoffs, Pat, they devalued him so much.
Yes. Yeah, I suppose everybody looks around and said, well, they want to get rid of him, so we're not going to offer much for him.
Yes.
And what does he do that offends them? Doesn't play enough defense,
You
or
know,
he's more erratic than he disappears for a week at a time or 2 weeks,
I,
or
I think it's a
what
li-
is it?
I think it's a little bit of his well, first of all, his height, which he's not a very big
Yeah.
guy. But I think the biggest thing that offends him is he was asking for more than they want to pay. But I think as far as his play goes, which is shocking, but as far as his play goes, I think it's just his size and defensively, he's probably not as good as
I
they'd like. But
guess
those guys are hard to find.
I guess it's because of the budgets that they have in hockey, right? That it is amazing. They get more offended by somebody not taking the money that they feel they deserve than any other, than any other sport. They didn't. Nobody, if a baseball guy asks for too much money, you might not pay him, but you're not mad at him. But then
You're right.
hockey, they get mad at him because this is what you're worth and take it, damn it. So it's a different kind of what's the payroll up to now, though? What's the salary cap up to? Have we hit 100 million yet,
No,
or
not yet. It's 90 something. And I think they have approximately 13 million to work with going into Tuesday.
and but this with their new TV deals, that thing's got to get up to 100,
Next year.
100 and some and 110, and it got to
Yep.
keep going up here, right? Right? Doesn't
It's
it?
finally
Yeah.
going up.
Yeah, it is when you see Nah signed for 62 million, and when you see Nah making as much as Kaprizov, there's something wrong with America. That's what I tell
I
you.
got a question
So
for you. What is
yeah.
it? Are we unique in I've just it amazes me. Like last night, Nah gets sign and trade right, and there's
Mhm.
this outpouring on social media about how much he is loved and how are we unique in our love for guys who inevitably should be allowed to move on?
Yes, I think that in some certain players on this team, we've decided that Rudy is the villain, right? Because Rudy can't shoot the 4 footer and and drops passes, but we love. Well, as I said, I said something about how ungodly this was that he got a $62 million contract. What was he making, 7 or something here? But
Nine,
anyway.
right? For
Yeah, for 2 years maybe. I don't
yeah, it
know.
wasn't that
He
much.
was making nothing, and hey, he came and was a good player. But our lasting memory of Nah, last game he ever played here, 20 minutes, no points,
Right.
zero. you know, it's he was really good. I thought this year, like the first 30 games or something, and then but when he gets in the playoffs and he has to make shots and stuff like that. Now he had a couple decent games, but. He's if you want to the fans want to keep him for that kind of money. Are you crazy? It's ridiculous. So I knew he was leaving, and good for him, but man
Right.
alive, I wonder if he's getting paid in Canadian though. That much money, that 62 million for him is just astounding to me. I can't believe it. But then again, James Harden gets 80 at age 50 and doesn't, and he's going to play 45 games a year. And it's, their problem is spending all the money they have. It's in the NBA. It's, that how are we going to kick away this much money? But
Right.
yeah, Garrett's got to have something up his sleeve. They're not just going to roll through this and say, we brought you Tarasenko and that's it. What
I hope so. It'd be a lot more fun.
I'd rather have Freddie Gaudreau than Tarasenko, for goodness sakes. What was wrong with Freddie? Why did we get rid of Freddie?
To clear more room. That's where like your what you're saying makes some sense. Like they got rid of Freddie to clear more cap room. So if they're going to clear more cap room, what are you going to do with it? Are
Hmm.
you going to like I think I could see a trade for a center that we don't see coming. That's the one thing that
Okay.
I'm wondering.
Yeah. 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 This is not going to be it. So I was reading about, what was it when they Grand Casino? By the way, I heard 10 million a year.
Wow.
Somebody told me, because you know what we got going on here? Grand Casino and Treasure Island has had all the sports stuff. They even had a deal with the Wild, before they did advertising. But
Sure.
we got this. They think the the Indian casinos think that they're going to get the sports book event, the sports books eventually. That they're going to end up winning or getting 90% of the sports books legal in this town. So Grand Casino, Treasure Island's getting all the pub out there about this, the sports world, and the Grand Casino wanted to get in on the action here,
Hmm.
and it was a great deal. I think that I got to think that the reason XL backed out is that the Wild wanted a lot more money. What were they getting? They were getting three, right? Three a year.
Is that what it was? I don't even know.
Yeah, I think they
Yeah.
were getting three a year. And
Yeah.
somebody, I'm not sure that this is a golden source, but he said that this person who's been good on some other stuff said they're getting it's about 10 a
Whew.
year instead of three. So there's more money they can spend on a free
So
agent.
does this? So does this eventually set up if we do get the sports gambling here for them to put a casino in the arena, like a lot of these teams have throughout the country?
I wouldn't be surprised if they're trying
That's the
to
thing, you know.
figure that out. Yeah, yeah. That you sell. Well, I don't know. You sell an acre of the place to the Grand Casino, and they have the sports book right in there. Who knows?
Yeah.
I have no idea what our legislature at this point, because the DFL is in bed with the tribes, and are trying to give them uh, full control of all the sports books. The only place the only legal sports books would be at the Indian casinos, and the Republicans, to their credit, are holding out and trying to get the racetracks to get a hunk at least. So.
Yeah, that's a good
That's
point.
that's what's going on. But yeah, but the this is they are benefiting from the battle between Grand Casino and Treasure Island, and Mystic Lake hasn't. Did they do much sports advertising? I don't know. Not
I
as
don't know.
much,
Yeah,
I don't think.
I'm not sure.
But Treasure Island is you know that's they kind of had the market cornered there, but not now. Grand Casino hopped in with a big hunk of money to make it Grand Casino Arena. It's now we got to come up with a nickname for it. That
It'll always be the X, though. That's my problem.
well,
When
that's the trouble.
when you've got a name on an arena or
Mhm.
stadium for that long, good luck in getting the public to
Have,
suddenly like say, "Oh no, it's now."
have you ever heard anybody say, "Hey, the Gophers have a game at Huntington Bank Stadium"?
No,
Has
I have,
anybody ever said that?
I
Has
have not.
anybody ever said that? No, maybe not. On the broadcast and stuff, they're
Sure.
they're trained, but nobody says we're going to the hunt for a game. We're going. They could have burned that money, Huntington Bank
That's
Stadium.
the
Nobody
thing.
knows who it is.
That's
So
the thing. Once you have a name, an original name, it's like Staples, right?
yes,
Like
say
what's it now?
whatever it. Oh yes.
Crypto.com?
Come on, honey, let's go down to the crypto center, cryptocenter.com. So, yeah, so did they build something around there, LA Live or something? Is that
Yes.
around the crypto center? So they're
Yes.
pretty much stuck there then, while uh, the other guy out there in Balmer built this fantastic place out in the for the Clippers, right?
Yeah, which
But
which
it's
is where the
left
Lakers used
arena.
to be.
Yeah.
Inglewood.
Yes. And his, but they must have, with the football stadium and everything out there. They must have a town built around there too, or they're building it anyway in that
Yes.
Inglewood area. So
Yes, absolutely.
anyway,
Absolutely.
anyway. So do we tear down the forum? Is the forum torn down, or is that
No, they
still sitting there?
remodeled it.
Oh,
It's
really?
like a
Who's
concert
there?
venue.
Oh, really? Okay.
But it looks like a little child's play toy now compared to because it's by
Yeah,
the
but
football stadium and by the Clippers
and the
arena. So it looks
yes,
like a little toy out there.
really, wow. Yeah, I didn't know. So basically, we can go out and look at the forum and see that's what we can do with the Target Center after they move to wherever they're going to go, Hinckley or someplace. You think with Grand Casino's involvement here, there's any chance that the Timberwolves arena might actually be at Grand Casino? That could be a possibility.
I've never thought about it, but
Yes.
it might be tempting.
Anything for more dollars for sure. So our fighting Lynx tonight, we don't know if Caitlin's going to play or not, though, right?
Yeah,
She's
she's been hurt again,
doubtful.
right?
Did you see that when they put the tickets for sale, the lower bowl sold out in 8 minutes?
No.
The Caitlin crowd is still out there, man. The Iowegians are still out there, wanting to fill. So I'm sure she'll try to play, because by the way, I also didn't see this, that the winning team gets 500,000 to
Hmm.
players to
Hmm.
split. The losing team gets 10 grand apiece. This is like, this is the way it should be. If this is what they should have done with the Pro Bowl. The winners get all this, the losers get nothing, right? That's what they should.
They
Although
would
they,
try too hard then in football, but yeah.
yeah, but the NFL is, it's when you throw $500,000 at an WNBA team, you're going to get an effort. When you throw 5 million at a NFL team, they're going to say, "Oh, who cares?" So
Do you
anyway,
see the expansion plan that was announced yesterday?
yes, two
Three,
hundred fifty million they're paying.
yeah, three teams
They're
too.
going they're going up to 18. Yeah, Cleveland, I was shocked, and then where with the two others, they're going up to 18. I know Toronto's in next year.
Yes,
Uh,
and Golden State's
Teresa
in this year,
Resch,
right?
Teresa Resch from Lakefield, Minnesota, and Jackson High is running that team up there in Toronto, the women's team, and they're building their own arena. They're having a little 8,000 seat
Oh,
arena
really?
up there. So, yeah, they're gonna be a big success. Although I see the guy that brought her up there, the Masari. Did you see he got fired?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
that was a
what?
shocker.
Yes, what did he do? I mean,
No idea.
you get the owners in there that think that I want to I want to make the conference finals, and if I don't, I'm going to fire you, even though you didn't do anything wrong. So
Yeah. So it's Cleveland, Detroit, and Philadelphia by 2030 for
wow,
NBA expansion. And Detroit, the Detroit Shock, I think, moved at one point. There was a Detroit team
oh
a
really?
long
Yeah,
time ago.
they
Yeah.
did. Oh, yeah, Lambeer coached them,
Hmm.
didn't they? And then they were winning championships. Then they went to Tulsa,
That's what it was. Yep.
and now they're not in Tulsa, and they're not in Tulsa anymore, are they? I don't know where they went.
Is that the Dallas team now?
That could be.
The
It could
Wings?
be. I don't know. Yeah, there's one thing when you look at Glenn Taylor when he got this team in '96, I think the Lakes or whatever. Man, a lot of his NBA partners bailed. They
Yep.
didn't. They didn't keep writing out that check, man. Once it became an independent operation. So you know, and they were. Remember, I'll never forget. We had a. You were there when we had a Lakes writer, and the person was kept referring to the Lynx playoff run the previous season, which was one win. They only had one win before Maya got here, I think. They only
Yeah,
had
probably.
one win as a playoff win as a franchise, I think.
Hmm.
Katie Smith is, and of course, as I've always said, that one of my embarrassing moments is after 2 or 3 years of stardom here with the Lynx, I had to introduce myself to Katie Smith in Sydney, Australia, because I didn't go to a lot of Lakes games in those early years. They've caught on a little more than they had in those early
Definitely.
years. Yes.
Definitely.
So, did you watch Scooble?
Oh, yeah. It was
I
phenomenal.
didn't see, but I
Oh, it's
had to
great.
do something. It was what was it? Game took about 90 minutes. Everybody I talked to said they turned it on and it was over.
Pat, that's so much fun, though.
Yeah.
That's my idea of a really good baseball game when it's played. That when you got a pitcher that dominant and you got it's 12 pitches, 15 pitches, bang, and you're done.
Well, he had 92 pitches with 13 strikeouts.
Yeah,
That's not easy. Half of your pitches were striking guys out, basically. 40% of your pitches were strikes that got guys struck out. It's man,
he
it's
looks like a pitcher too, Pat. I like the fact
a
that he's
big
not in great
windup.
shape.
No, he's not in great shape. But domination that kind of came. I wouldn't say out of nowhere, but how much did we know about him 2 years ago? Not much at all, right?
You know what? Detroit drafted a few guys. That
Yeah,
Casey Mize, I think, was the first pick of his
yes,
draft,
that's
and
right.
Scooble's been easily now the best.
Yeah, oh, by far, yeah. Now Casey Mize was like, I think he got hurt or something, but he was terrible too. And now this year he's been better, but you know, they got uh, they got really good offensive numbers too. Though that team, they're averaging 5 runs a game, and they're the model we should be. That's why we should start trading people right now at the deadline. Get yourself, go back down, win 55 games, and then build yourself back up and become a powerhouse if you make the right choices.
Explain this to me. There was some point in May, I think, that we were doing the show and we were talking about the American League Central. It looks pretty good now. Like,
Yeah,
a
right.
couple of years ago, it
Ooh,
was a
they've been
joke.
awful.
I looked at the standings today. It is a who's who of crap.
Oh,
The
I mean,
Royals have been terrible.
well, somebody told me they had a week because Detroit had a bad week like 2 weeks ago. They had like on Friday that week or Saturday they were one. The division was 1-15 for
Oh, you're kidding.
they were playing everybody else and they were yeah, it just went well. Kansas City's the shock. They went in a tank, man. They can't score any runs, and some of their pitchers getting ran. Their best pitcher, that lefty Raggins, keeps getting hurt. I think he's done for the year now. It's Tommy John or something, but he was good. And yeah, well, they had their worst season ever 2 years ago, and then they came up out of nowhere and were pretty good last year and made the playoffs, and now they're rotten again. So I don't know. It's yeah, the Central is what we thought they were right
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
I was looking at it and I thought, my God, everyone is. I think, aside from Detroit, everyone has a minus run differential. Like in the last 10 games, they all won about four times. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's terrible. And so, do you think the Twins will trade? I agree with you. I think they
Yes.
should. Do you think that they will trade?
Yes. Yes. I think they're going to be sneaky about it, but I don't know. Because okay, people are saying, well, they're trying to sell, so they don't want to get the fans more upset than they are already. That has nothing to do with it now. It's when Tampa. I mean, Tampa's playing good, but I don't think it makes any difference. When Tampa sells for 1.7 billion, you can sell the team, and the best path forward for this team is to load up and not worry about the rest of this season. And Griffin Jackson's 30 years old. He's great. You can get three. You can get three great prospects for him. You can get two at least for Duran. I said this before a couple of weeks ago. People thought I was crazy. But what are you trying to preserve? By not trading people. What do you think you're gonna? You think you're gonna go to the playoffs and beat somebody good.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, what are you trying to hold on to here? It's this is a perfect time to trade because the fans are mad at you anyway and aren't going to the games anyway. So what the people who are going to come to the people who make their August trip every year for a weekend are still going to make it because they planned it 2 months ago. So it's not going to hurt you that much at the gate, and there's no end line for this. There's nothing. There's
Yes.
no there's no big prize at the end of this season to be defending.
Yes.
So start doing some stuff.
Your only hope now, from an attendance perspective, is the opponents, right? Like the Cubs
Yes.
are here in a couple weeks. You'll draw like crazy.
Unfortunately, the Cubs weren't here for a weekend. That would have been great, But
Yes.
but they'll still draw. I heard. I was watching them where a couple of days ago. Were they just in Philly? Were they just in Philly?
The Cubs?
The Cubs, where were they? I was watching one of their games,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a place that draws, and still, or Baltimore maybe, I don't know, but half the crowd was Cubs fans,
Yep.
and in a place out east that draws. I'm not sure where, but when the Cubs got a hit, there was just as much noise as when the other team got a hit. So they're good too, by the way. They're these. Crow Armstrong, who nobody ever heard of, and
Yep.
little guy is phenomenal. He's going to drive in 140 runs.
They were in June. They were in Philadelphia.
Yes,
It looks like so. Yes, yeah.
yeah, that's where I heard him
But
because
the
the
Cubs could
Cubbies.
use pitching, starting pitching, especially to
Yes,
what you're talking about.
yeah, well, you can't trade Pablo, obviously. I don't know. Do you trade Joe or Joe? You might not want to trade Joe Ryan. Paddock, obviously, if somebody would take him, you'd trade him, and give him a break too. Maybe he can pitch for the rest of the year and get himself a 2-year contract. Because yeah. But I just don't know what you think you're holding on to here by not trading. So. You gotta. Where are they? Where are the prospects? Where are these guys that you've been? Hey, we got the fifth rated uh, farm team. Where are
You know
those
what?
people?
You know
Those,
what? This hasn't changed. It feels like for some teams since the 80s when Baseball America would come out, right?
yes,
They
yeah,
the Mets future pitching staff. These three guys are going to be phenomenal. A
yes.
thud. It feels like that's we're always talking about these prospects and it's going to be phenomenal when they come up and then to your
And,
point they're
and
either hurt
anybody
or
below A ball doesn't count. Because I mean anybody A ball or below. 18 year, oh man, he's a fantastic 18-year-old kid, what was the name of the outfielder from the high school outfielder? What was his
BJ Garby.
BJ Garby? Yes.
Yes.
I mean, he was the greatest athlete ever at 18, and man, he could do everything but hit. He was a great athlete, blah blah blah. Could have been a football player. He was great. Of
How
course.
many of those? How many through the years you think about this have there been just like that though?
Oh
These
yeah.
guys that were going to come up and save the day, or the Twins trade them, and you think, and when the Twins made the John Smiley deal on St.
Mhm.
Patrick's Day in '92, I remember it was Midray Cummings and Denny Nagel, and everyone's
Yes.
like, "How can you trade Midray? He's going to be
Yes.
great. He's going to be fantastic."
Yes.
Nagel,
And
great career.
Nagel turned out
Midray
fine.
Cummings just bounced around. He eventually came back here.
Yeah. But of course, one of the great Wayne Hadaway moments. The 1 year BJ Garby was in spring training. They brought him to spring training about his fourth year or fifth year, and there was a they were having a Wayne's birthday was always in March, right? So they'd have Wayne in the clubhouse, and Gardy'd give a little speech or something, and was say about Wayne and hey Wayne and Wayne, what do you want for your birthday? Was the question, and he said, I want Garby to hit 250.
Did he really?
Yeah, right. I want to see Garby hit two
Oh
because
God.
you knew he'd give a shot to some poor guy standing there, and Hadaway saying, you know, that it is amazing to me when I look at the Twins minor league assignments when they send out the minor league assignments, and it's like when you count trainers and everything, it's 150 names, right? At least in the minor league system. And when I look back to think Wayne Hadaway was both the trainer and the equipment manager in Double A Orlando in the Southern League. That was your medical staff. You then you'd
Yep.
call it if somebody broke an ankle, you'd send them to the hospital, right? But
Oh,
Wayne was Wayne would rub up their arm before he'd rub up their arm before they'd send him out there and say, "See you in the second inning, buddy," or something
the
like that.
medical stuff from back in the day
Oh
was so
wow!
Doc Rose. You remember Doc
Oh
Rose and the North
yeah,
Stars?
yeah,
He'd
yeah,
go out there and tell guys to get up, and
yeah. Right,
you
Doc.
think about
Doc
it.
was Doc was a great guy for years, but now you got 9 guys helping him and
Hey,
stuff.
when did the manager? Because it's not just Baldelli. When did managers start to accompany trainers onto the field when guys get like not hurt
Mm.
necessarily, but just sort
I
of get hit
don't.
by a pitch?
I don't know. Hell, back in the back in the day, the they just stay there, and unless the guy was down in the dirt rolling around, then they might come out and
Well,
look
Mott
at
didn't
him. But
come out, right?
it was, oh God, no, it wasn't. The only time he came out was when Danny Ford failed to score from third before Jose Morales scored from second, and he just walked out to find out did what he saw actually did happen, you know. So yeah, he didn't. He might have come out. Yeah, if he got badly hurt, maybe, but not. You know, they didn't rush out to the idea that you have to show concern of somebody anytime anybody gets hit with a baseball. You know, I can see if it gets hit in the hand or the wrist or stuff like that. But
I just don't remember the manager
up here,
always
no,
running
no,
out with like Dick
no, there
Martin
wasn't.
back, with the
No,
Twins.
yeah, Martin had run. Yeah, they didn't. They
I
didn't.
also missed this, Pat. Ethyl chloride. Do you remember when you'd
Oh
get
yeah,
hit on
yeah,
your hand? It would just freeze it.
yeah. That freeze
Bring
everything.
back ethyl chloride.
Yeah, that's right. Broke. We might have a broken leg. There you
The guy
go.
couldn't feel his leg.
Yeah, right. We'll get rid of this pain by killing, by making you numb.
You can't feel your limb, thus you can continue to play. We need the Twins to use ethyl chloride
Yes.
so when a guy gets hit by a pitch, he just comes out, sprays something on it, and the guy can go
Well,
to first
the
base.
game was better off when X-rays were the mediocre X-rays were the zenith of medical research. The MRI machine has ruined things, and they have them in the clubhouse, for God's sakes. You
Because it
can.
finds stuff.
Yes, right. I know. You don't want to find stuff. You want to you
No.
want to keep it hidden, for goodness.
The x ray looked clean. You can go play. I don't care that you tore some type of tendon off a
Yes.
bone that we didn't see on the x ray.
Jim Cott always said 67 when he popped his elbow pitching against Boston in the last weekend of the season. When we got beat 2 games and didn't make the World Series, that if it had been modern times, he would have had Tommy John. But he basically just changed his pitching style and started using the fast pitching thing, and he kept pitching. And this was 67, and he pitched, I think his last year was 82, or something like,
It's like,
he
do you,
invented he invented himself reinvented himself late as a relief pitcher too. So
if you recall a guy named Frank Tanana, who was this hard
oh
throwing,
yeah, yeah,
unbelievably hard throwing, clearly his arm went dead, came back
yes.
as a slop baller.
I remember Mock telling me when he was still throwing hard to Nana, he said, that young man is screwing with his career by throwing so many breaking pitches, by change ups and breaking pitches and slow curves, because he thought he's going to lose his fastball because he's not throwing it enough. And now his arm probably went dead, but Gene thinks if Gene was, Gene, I loved him, but he ruined a few careers. There's no doubt about it. Tommy Johnson, poor Tommy Johnson, is. Soupy Campbell pitched 162 innings as a reliever, as a closer. And Tommy, after Soupy left, he tried to do the same thing with Tommy. And by August, Tommy couldn't scratch his knee, and he was still trying to, you know, there was a game in Chicago that they were trying to win down in July 4th weekend, I think. And I think he brought him in like the fifth inning or something like that. And he threw like 80, 90 pitches, and as the closer, they would call him stopper back then. But yeah, Gene thought that pitchers were recyclable resources. So
All right. Hey, before we go, sell me a car, sir.
hey, this is a great weekend to go out there. July 4th weekend. Get out to Jim Paul and Brett Paul's Valley Group of GM dealers. They got a tremendous assortment of Buick SUVs. They have several models. The Invista, the smaller one, is a really hot vehicle right now. Suchi Boy loves the Invista. He's got his eye on one. So, right now we got low interest rates, big inventory, and nice factory rebates too, and tremendous, as I said, tremendous inventory. right out in Apple Valley. Go straight down Cedar Avenue. It's off there on the right. Dozens of cars, hundreds of cars, and they got a great used car supply too. So nothing else to do on the 4th. Go out there on a Saturday the 5th and check out the vehicles at Jim Paul and Brett Paul. Also, financial people there will make it happen for you.
Always fun, Patrick. Talk to you on Wednesday.
All right, see you.
See ya.